Book of Heaven, Volume 32, March 12, 1933. How created things are the guises that cover the divine will. Example of a king in disguise. How creation and redemption are always an act of calling the creature to operate together. My celestial sovereign Jesus, hide me inside your divine heart, so that, not outside of you, but inside the sacrarium of your heart, I may begin the present volume. The pen will be the light of your divine volition, dipped in the furnace of your love. And as you dictate to me what you want to tell me, I will act as a mere listener, and will lend to you the paper of my little soul, so that you yourself may write what you want, the way you want, and as much as you want. Beware, my lovable teacher, not to let me write anything of my own, otherwise I will make much nonsense. And you, sovereign queen, hide me under your mantle, keep me defended from everything, never leave me alone, that I may fulfill the divine will in everything. So I continued to think about the adorable fiat, and I felt surrounded by all created things, and each of them was saying, I am the divine will. What you see outside of us are its guises, the garment that covers it. But inside of us there is its life palpitating and operating, and oh, how glorious and honored we feel, for we form the clothing of the divine will. The sun forms for it the garment of light, the heavens the azure garment, the stars the garment of gold, the earth the garment of flowers. In sum, all things have the honor of forming the clothing of the divine will, and all in chorus we make feast. I remained amazed, stunned, and I said to myself, oh, how I wish I too could say, I am the garment of the divine will. How happy I would feel. And my great King Jesus, visiting his little daughter, told me,
my good daughter, King, Creator, Divine Will, means to dominate, to invest, and to hold our life inside each thing created by us. To create means to stretch out one's life, to hide our creating will in the very thing created by us. This is to create, to call things out of nothing, to enclose in them the all, in order to preserve them in the integrity of the beauty with which we created them. Now, you must know that my will is like a king in disguise within each created thing. If the creatures recognize him under those guises, he reveals himself and abounds in giving his divine acts and his royal gifts, which only this celestial emperor can give. But if he is not recognized, he remains there, unobserved, hidden, making no sound or pomp of his royal person. Nor does he abound in giving of his gifts, which only a volition so holy can give. And the creatures touch the clothing, but know nothing and receive nothing of it and of its gifts. And my fiat remains with the sorrow of not having been recognized, and with the anguish of not having given its divine gifts, because not knowing it, they lack the capacity and the will to receive royal gifts. I act like a king who, disguising himself, goes into the midst of his people. If they pay attention to him, even though he is not wearing the royal garments, they will recognize him from his manners, from his face, and drawing all around him, will give him the honors of king and will ask for gifts and favors. And the king will reward the attentiveness of those who recognize him in disguise, and will give them more than they want. And with those who do not recognize him, he will pass by unobserved, without giving them anything. More so, since they themselves do not ask him for anything, holding him as just anyone from the people. So my will does when it is recognized under the guises of the created things. It reveals itself, and it does not wait like the king to be asked for gifts and favors, but it itself says, I am here, what do you want? And it overabounds in giving celestial gifts and favors. But it goes beyond the king, bilocating itself. It gives its very life to the creature who has recognized it, which the king does not do. Now you too can say, I am will of God, and make of yourself the guises, the garment that hides my divine will, not only if you recognize it in all created things, but if you recognize it within yourself, give it dominion in all your acts, and place at its service everything that the guise of your being does to make its life grow in you. It will fill you so much that the mere garment will be left of you, which it will use only to cover itself. And you will be more happy than all created things, because you will be the living guise that will share with it its joys, its happiness, and also its infinite sorrows, for it wants to be life of each creature, but ungrateful, they do not give it full dominion. In sum, you will always live life together, keeping each other perennial company, forming one single life.
After this, I continued to follow the acts done by the divine will in creation. Since it is always an act of creating it, by virtue of the preservation which it incessantly exercises in each created thing, I find it always in the creating act, in order to say, with deeds, to all and to each one, how much I love you. It is precisely for you that I am creating this whole machine of the universe. Oh, please, recognize how much I love you. But what surprised me the most was that the eternal fiat was waiting for me. It wanted me together with it in the creating act, to tell me, come into my act, let us do together what I am doing. I felt all confused, and my eternal love Jesus surprising me told me,
Little daughter of my volition, courage, why are you confused? In my will there is no yours or mine. The act of one must be unified with the other and become one. Even more, as the creature enters into our volition, she remains confirmed in the act that my fiat is doing. Its love, its loving industries are such that it wants to say to the creature, we have done this together. Therefore, the stretched out heavens, the sun refulgent with light, and everything else are yours and mine. We have the rights in common. This is why I always hold the act present, because I want the creature together with me. She, for love of whom alone I am always operating, so as to hear her say to me in that same act which I am operating, I love you, I love you, I love you. Not having an I love you in works so great and marvelous, not being recognized, would be as if our love remained defeated. But no. Among many queech, we have to find someone who would remain with us, loving and operating, who would give us the little requital, so that our love may find its outpouring and its happiness on the part of the creature. And as she enters into our fiat, she remains confirmed and bound in its divine acts, in such a way that its binding virtue binds God and the creature. And just as in creation, so in redemption, there are no past acts, but all acts in act and present. Past and future do not exist for the Supreme Being. So your Jesus is always an act of conceiving, of being born, of crying, of suffering, and of dying and rising. All these acts of mine, in continuous act, without ever ceasing, besiege each creature, drown her with love, and for the outpouring of my ardent love I keep repeating, see, only for you am I descending from heaven, and I am conceived, and I am born. And you, come to be conceived together with me, to be reborn together with me to the new life that your Jesus brings you. Look at me. I cry for you. I suffer for you. Have pity on my tears and on my pains. Let us suffer together, that you may repeat what I did and model your life with mine, so that I can say to you, what is mine is yours. You are the repeater of my life. In the same way, if I die, I call her to die together with me, not to make her die, but to rise again with the same life of the one who so much loves her. So my life is repeated continuously. A past or future love would not satisfy me, nor would it be the love and redemption of a God. It is the present act that has the virtue of wounding, of conquering, and of disposing her to lay down her life for love of the one who, in act, is laying it down for her. However, there is a great difference on the part of creatures. One who listens to me and takes everything that we have done, both in creation and in redemption, as in the act of doing it, forms her life together with us, feels our divine acts flow within her acts. Everything speaks of God for her. On the other hand, one who looks at them as past things retains only the memory of them, and a memory has not formed either divine life or heroism of sanctity. Therefore, take things as they are in reality, always in act, always to love you, and always for you to love me.
Fiat.